What's going on, everyone? I want to share a one-on-one conversation I had with a buddy of mine from high school who just started his own business. And so he was texting me, and he was saying, "Hey, I've got this offer and my value ladder, and I want to get your feedback on it." And before I looked at it, I said, "You haven't made a sale, right?" And he was like, "Yeah." He said, "I'm worried about being stuck with providing fulfillment because I'm just doing too much and I'm offering too much." And and I was like, right, so you haven't made a sale yet. And he was like, yeah. And I was like, okay, you need to get over that. And I said, what's the price? And he said, 4,800 for 10 weeks. And I said, listen, man, just give so much that you feel like the person would feel stupid saying no. All right? Don't try and fix your non existent, overwhelmed fulfillment issue when you haven't even made a sale yet. All right, close a deal, then another, and then another, and then once you are overwhelmed, then you can start dealing with it. And the benefit is that once you've made sales, you will have the money from the sales to have resources to deal with the problem. And so this is something that I see all the time, right? They'll try and solve issues that don't even exist. I have somebody like this example, right? He's like, I don't want to be overwhelmed with all this fulfillment. I'm like, dude, you haven't even made a sale yet, right? Sell the world, right? Sell everything you possibly can to get them to say yes. And then what happens is you're going to start making money. And then at that point, you can start peeling back the things that take the most time that are not as valuable. But in the beginning, you just have to create flow. So one of the rules that I always have is create flow, monetize flow, then add friction. All right? In that order. So once you have demand, it means you're making a good offer of some kind. Then you are getting people to say yes, which means you make an offer that's so crazy that someone would be stupid to say no. And if that means selling your time, selling one-on-one stuff, flying out to their house or driving over every day, whatever it is, even if it's unreasonable, stop thinking about scale before you've even had the ability to have a single sale. Right? It drives me nuts because I'm like, dude, you're trying to solve a problem that doesn't even exist. It's like when I would have guys who come into the gym and they'd be like, hey, well, I want to get bigger, but I don't get as big as you. And I was like, you're not going to sneeze and fucking get jacked. All right? I was like, there's a million steps between where you're at and where I'm at. And believe me, it won't happen on accident. Right? And so they're like, well, I don't want to get too, like, they're trying to solve problems that don't even exist yet. I was like, why don't we start with making you look like you even work out? Why don't we start there? Fair enough, right? And the thing is like, why don't we start with you actually just getting a sale before we even talk about what your fulfillment and optimizing for profit even looks like, right? And so, anyways, he sent me the big graph of like what he's looking at, and I was like, it's fine, dude. Just sell the world and deliver, right? None of it's going to even matter because they're not going to remember any of it. They'll just remember how they feel and how well you understood their problems, right? And if the solution felt unique, easy to understand, and easy to believe that it would work for them, right? And so he was like, yeah, it makes sense. It's crazy how much of this has been like just removing my own self-limiting belief. And I was like, yeah, money's made in your mind first, right? Poor people have poor beliefs. You can't, if you're walking towards a door, right before you go and turn the knob, you envision yourself turning the knob. Everything happens in your mind before it happens in reality. And if you can't envision yourself actually making money doing it, then there's no way it's going to happen. Poor people expect poor outcomes, right? Rich people expect rich outcomes, and they don't accept outcomes beyond that. They don't make decisions unless they feel like that outcome is possible, right? And so what happens is those poor beliefs keep people poor. All right. And so, anyways, I was like, listen, man, stop obsessing over what you're going to include or what the little offer stack is. I said, just give away the farm. All right. Make some sales. And then when you have money and a business, then you can worry about optimizing. But for now, you're solving around a made up problem that doesn't even exist. You have no fulfillment issues because you have no clients. All right. Sell first, over deliver, and then optimize for profit. All right. And so, this was just a process that I just see as a mistake that I see happen so many times. And if you were starting out, sell everything. Sell the most insane offer you can possibly think of. Get someone to say yes first, all right? And then get another person to say yes. And if you're like, man, I'm so overwhelmed, that's okay. You're supposed to be overwhelmed. It's normal, especially if you're starting out, all right? But you're going to start learning how even to sell, right? And you're going to start learning, okay, well, this is something that I'm offering that might have been really valuable in the sale, but is actually really easy to fulfill on. And something else that I promised I would fulfill on, they actually didn't care that much about it, but now it's taking all my time. And over time, you can start peeling those pieces back and make it into an offer that's both profitable and attractive to the prospect. But when you're starting out, you don't know. And so the best thing, in my opinion, is to just stack as much valuable as possible to get them to say yes. All right. And so what that means is you don't have to be exceptional at sales in the beginning, because what you do is you give an offer so good that someone feels stupid saying no. And so what I'll do is I'll wrap up with the story of how I learned this. And so when I was 23, I went to a conference and I paid $3,000 for a weekend conference, and it was $3,000 of money I didn't have. And it was run by a guy named Travis Jones, who went by TJ, and he was a business coach. And I remember when I was there, he'd offhandedly mentioned he made $1 million that year, and I was like, man, I just want to be this guy, right? I was like, I'll do anything to be this guy. And everyone there was a business owner except for me, and I was way over my head. They were talking about like CTRs and conversion rates and cost per leads, and I was like, I don't know what's going on. And so, anyways, during one of the breaks, he came up to me. He saw that I was like way over my head. And he was like, hey man, do you want to know the secret to sales? And at this point, I was learning what the term sales meant. I didn't even know what it meant, really, honestly. And I was like, yeah, like tell me the secret to sales. And so I like pulled my notebook out, and I was like, I just like didn't want to like miss anything. And he said, make people an offer so good they would feel stupid saying no. And for me, it was this huge moment, and I underlined it, I wrote it down, I circled it. And it was at that point that I realized that I could still make money even if I wasn't good at sales. I just had to make an offer that was good enough that they would feel stupid saying no. And so that means if someone said no, I could keep adding things until eventually they said yes. And that was one of the biggest epiphanies that I had in my life, was realizing that if I could just keep going and keep adding value, eventually they would say yes. And so instead of cutting prices, I would keep my price and just add more than anyone else could even imagine, so much so that it would be ridiculous. And I was willing to scale the unscalable in the beginning because I just needed people to say yes and start the flow, right? Get the flow, monetize the flow, then add friction.
Have you ever looked at yourself in the mirror and thought, wow, I should be further ahead by now? If you're trying to make money online or start your first business and feel overwhelmed, you're not alone. Every day, you see other people succeeding and you wonder, why am I not succeeding? Maybe you don't like your job or you're unfulfilled. You want to do something you love and make money, but you feel stuck, bored, confused, or maybe all three. I get it. I spent years in the exact same spot, afraid to fail, but ashamed of being afraid. And it wasn't until I paid another business owner to teach me how to run a local business that I felt comfortable starting my own. He showed me the ropes and gave me the confidence to start. And after scaling my local gym chain from learning this stuff from him, I started a company called Gym Launch, which I sold years later for $46.2 million. Now, what I want to do is repay the favor. I want to show you the ropes the exact way that business owner did for me. And as the person with the largest community on Skool, which I'll tell you about in a second, I can show you exactly what to do. You can start your own online community business today with all the things I didn't know when I started my first business for free with the Skool games. So imagine building a business being as easy as playing a video game with step-by-step instructions, live workshops, real-time leaderboards, and new friends to make it fun. If all that were true, would you at least be interested? Okay. Now, you might be wondering, well, what exactly is Skool? How do the Skool games work? How much does it cost? Do I need to be an expert? Do I need an audience? What are the prizes? Great questions. Let me break it down for you. Skool Games is a fun, easy way to build your online business. No experience or followers needed. Just simply choose a painful experience you overcame, something you find interested or you're passionate about, or some skill you learned throughout your career, no matter how small. It could be as simple as a better way to organize folders, or meal prepping for kids who have food allergies, or travel hacks. And then all you have to do is just invite people to community about overcoming that pain, following that passion, or learning that skill. And we'll show you exactly how to build it and monetize it on your first try. Now, if that sounds insanely simple, that's because it is. So check it out. More than 1 out of 2 people who start a paid community in Skool make money. That means by your next reunion, instead of answering, what are you up to these days? You could be answering, how'd you do that? And could you help me? And the thing is you probably could, because it's not that hard. Right now, people are paying hundreds, sometimes thousands to get into digital communities the same way they do nightclubs or cafes. Just think about it as a place where lots of people who want to talk about the same stuff can gather together, and people pay to get in. And the crazy thing is people are selling courses and coaching programs for thousands and tens of thousands on how to build a business like this because it's so profitable. But what if there were a faster, easier, zero-risk way to learn how to do this for yourself? What if you could learn how to start, scale, and monetize an online group the right way on your first try for free? Would you at least consider it? All right. So for those of you who want more out of life, an online community takes the least amount of time to get started. You can literally make money in hours. It requires the least skill. If you can invite people to a party, you can make this business work. And you don't need to be an expert. You just invite those people and let them do the heavy lifting for you. It's kind of like Wikipedia. Wikipedia is not the expert at anything. They just bring the people together and then they are the online de facto experts. It's even faster than building a course or starting a coaching program because you don't need to have all the answers for that exact reason. Interested yet? Good. Because School Games was designed to smash through every obstacle that once stood in the way of starting an online business. It's why we have such an insanely high success rate. We've obsessed for years about removing everything that stops people from succeeding. And that's why with the School Games, you can succeed without an audience or expertise. Because let's face it, most people don't. And so we had to figure out a way to help people win. And of the 5 out of 7 communities I talked about earlier who won the School Games in their first month, only 2 of them had organic followings before they started. You don't need any fancy software, calendars, payment processing. Everything you need is already built into School. And you don't even have to know what your community is going to be about yet. I'll show you how to pick it. It's simple, and you can do it in less than 20 minutes. And if you're wondering, well, how do I get people invited to my community? Don't worry, you don't have to ask people you know. We've made it simple to crowdsource your community, just like Evelyn did through School itself on the millions of users we already have on the platform. As for tech skills, you don't need any. If you have the technology to watch this video right now, you already have all the tech you need to start, scale, and succeed. So what happens if you sign up right now? Well, you'll follow our process, you'll build a paid community about whatever it is you love, and if you become one of the top 10 communities on the leaderboard, you'll join me and other successful community owners here in Vegas. And even if you don't win the first month, you get to keep competing every month until you win. And then you can join all the alumni and all the past winners to get to the next level. Worst case scenario, you join, you do nothing, you decide to quit and walk away with thousands of dollars worth of knowledge that you can take with you on whatever business venture you want next. Best case scenario, you take a zero risk move and change your life forever. Or maybe you're just like Kyle, who's never won the games, never got in the top 10, and just built a community that makes him $4,664 a month in recurring revenue. He didn't win any awards, but would 3, 4, 5 grand a month change things for you? If so, then you're in the right place. Remember, the only guarantee is that if you don't take the shot, you'll stay exactly where you are. But if you do, you could be the next one coming out to Vegas celebrating how quickly you built an online business with consistent monthly recurring revenue. You in? Click the button below to join the School Games now. If you join this month, I'll personally onboard you live. Sign up and I'll see you on our onboarding call on Monday. You can ask me whatever you want. Now, if you're worried about starting a free trial, we offer an unconditional money back guarantee. So if you finish your trial and you forget to cancel, just let us know and we'll refund you. All right, we just want people to win. And I'm going to say this one more time because it's important. 1 out of 2 people who start a paid community in School make money, with the average paid community owner earning $1,360 per month. You really can do this. Click the button and let's get started.